welcome to Season 7, Week 4 matchup. We have an awesome one between Jersey City Jirachis and the Chapel Hill Hawluchas. Thank you for joining us. I am Caleb, the Seagull Gulley, and every time when we cast, we always have our good friend Chris Moriarty Marks here with us tonight. Chris, I'm ecstatic we finally get to cast again. How are you feeling tonight, man?
I'm feeling pretty good, excited to get into these games. It has been, 2 weeks, 3 weeks since the last time we got to cast a game. So really excited to get back into it. Excited for a weekend of casting in games, especially because Toronto's on the bye week. I just get to sit back and enjoy it.
Yeah, I was on the bye week last week, so it was fun sitting back and getting to just cast games. Spoiler alert, we have 3 games that will be on our channel this weekend, so we're very excited about that. But before we go any further, before we jump into team sheets and stuff like that, we have a new graphic for everybody. We have the standings, the overall current standings here within Week 4 of the W&W Pokemon Draft League. We have the Chapel Hill Hawluchas topping the table at 4 points, as you can see with the white mark Chris made there when he put together the graphics for us. With a 2-0 match record, 4-1 game score, 1-0 in both division and non-division, +4 differential. And then their competition night, Jersey City Jirachis at the bottom of the table with 1.1-2 match record, 3-5 game score, and a 1-2 non-divisional record with a -5 differential. This is a big divisional match here, Chris, that we get to cast. Very exciting. There are a ton of implications here, man.
Yeah, so taking a look over here at the divisional side of things, Chapel Hill technically still sitting in first place, but only 3 points behind is Jersey City and the Jirachis. So if they were to pick up this 2-0 win today, that's worth 3 points, and that would bring them up to the 3-way tie for first place. Now, I say the 3-way tie because Toronto Trick Roomers, as we previously discussed, are on the bye week, which means they do get that free point from the match that would have previously been against the Zambia Zebstrikas. So they are technically in first place with that 3-0 record at that +6 differential, putting them ahead of everybody else since there is not head-to-head for them inside of the Hoenn division yet. But big game, lot could happen. The tables could get shuffled quite heavily this week, starting here, and I'm excited to see if that happens.
Well, that's the exciting part about divisional games, and we got a lot of them coming up this weekend. But we've looked at the standings here for a minute. We see Chapel Hill has a chance to extend their lead. Jersey City has a way to gain some ground here, but let's see the Pokemon playing tonight. We were lucky to get the team sheets ahead of time. You get to see us for once on camera, which is kind of fun. But from the Jersey City Jirachis tonight, we're going to get to see the G-Max monster, the Rillaboom, the Vaporeon from Tier 1. It is the franchise Pokemon, something that has been a carry for him in seasons past. From Tier 2, we see the Hawlucha, Tier 3, the Malamar, and then the rare team build using 2 Tier 4s, the Ninjask and the Rhydon. And then coming to stay on top, the Chapel Hill Hawluchas, bringing the legendary Pokemon Regieleki, Togekiss from Tier 1, Dragalge from Tier 2, Turtonator, and the Galarian Mr. Mime from Tier 3, and then the Pokemon I always have a hard time pronouncing, the Pyukumuku from Tier 4. Chris, I don't know what I'm looking at here. Can you help us break this down, man?
Yeah, so looking at this, there's a lot of wild interplay going on here. Lots of checks and balances going on. One of the most interesting things is that this team from the Jersey City side looks like it wants to do a lot of switching around, obviously with things like this baton pass from the Ninjask, just to try and get some of these Pokemon into outrageous stat ranges. Hawlucha having the potential to do those unburdened sets, letting it get ridiculously fast. A couple speed boosts from Ninjask, passing it off to the Malamar or the Rillaboom or the Vaporeon, letting those go crazy. This Rhydon potentially having that lightning rod to shut down this Regieleki, which now taking a look at the Chapel Hill side, this Regieleki could be supportive. We could see it with screens and Electroweb to try and slow down all that speed boosting on the Jersey City side. It could help proc a weakness policy on this Togekiss if that's going to be offensive. It could be defensive, those follow me, yawn, chip damage sets. Dragalge Another big threat coming over here. We've got the dual dragons in this middle section for the Hawluchas looking to threaten, covering a lot of what the Hawluchas have over there. And then these lower tiers, these are question marks. These are things that we've never really seen in the league. Pyukumuku technically was on the Toronto's Season 2 victory lap, not part of... Or no, they were part of that finishing team.
Yeah, they were. You paired it with that Avalog, remember?
Yep.
I you had that crazy
because
crazy
I had to. And so as someone that has tried to make Pyukumuku be good before, interested to see if what it's able to do here. I'm not sure. But, you know, they drafted it. Hopefully they've got a plan. And this Galarian Mr. Mime, an interesting tech piece, wondering what it's going to be. Is it going to be Ice Shard to try and set up this Dragalge or this Togekiss? Is it going to have screens? Is it going to be there to be a sort of counter support to the, well, it's unfortunate if that's its job because there's not really supports on the other side of this.
No, not conventionally at least.
Yeah, certainly not conventionally, but we've got a lot of interesting interplay, not only between these two teams, but inside their own team. A lot of mind games going on. It looks like it's going to kind of be a battle for positions, which is always exciting to see if players can actually, you know, maneuver into those. But yeah, Caleb, some of your thoughts looking at this here.
Well, if you have seen our Week 3 in review video that was posted earlier this week on our YouTube channel, we both called this game 2-1 in favor of Chapel Hill. Honestly, after seeing these teams, I really don't know what we're about to see. That's the crazy thing here. We've seen Regieleki do a lot of damage, be a lot of spread damage. With Volt Switch, we know it can go physical, we know it can go special. Vaporeon has been this massive wall in seasons past, and, you know, with Dragalge here, it's going to be able to ignore this Vaporeon. Even if it has Ice Beam, Dragalge has an amazing special defense stat. So Vaporeon, I don't know how that gets through that Dragalge. Rillaboom doesn't like to be matched up with this Dragalge as well. Really not a whole lot on the Jersey City side that can deal with it. I mean, Malamar does have the Psychic typing, but the main thing here is if it does get to do Superpower and things like that, it's boosting its defense and attack. So if it's using Contrary, it may be using Suction Cups, and that would be a new one for us to see. I don't think anyone's done that before, but there's... Like you said, this is a positional battle. We've seen the Ninjask here doing the baton pass, so we might get to see some relays going on with the Jersey City side. But Turtonator here, really big physical wall, and this team from Jersey City looks very, very physical, minus the Vaporeon. And Vaporeon's only going to be able to hit this Turtonator neutrally, so that's going to be something that... I think if you maxes it, it has a really good win condition here to work with. Unfortunately, I don't know if he has a way to set up a policy with Turtonator, but I don't know if he's even going to need it. If he can get max Worm Winds off and cut the Rillaboom damage down, it may be fine. Rhydon can set it off, but in general, the Turtonator and Dragalge here, these Dragon duo that you've already mentioned, I think they're going to be very problematic for this Jersey City team to take care of.
Yeah, especially if we do see this, supportive set from the Regieleki, just getting those things behind screens. It kind of looks like this Jersey City team might run out of damage pretty quickly. But, one thing that we've always known about in the league is that if you can just get a stab close combat off,
that's huge.
That's going to hurt. It's going to do a lot of damage. And there's nothing on this Chapel Hill side that's super excited to take that, not named Togekiss.
Right.
So that is one route. A couple other things that could help deal with this Turtonator. We see moves like high horsepower on the Rillaboom pretty often. This Rhydon does get that stab ground typing. Not the highest damage in the world on this Rhydon, but respectable. We saw it last week. Those Rock Slides putting in some pretty decent work. This Rhydon could cause a bit of an issue for a lot of the stuff over here on this Chapel Hill side. Just looking at it, all 5 Pokemon are either weak to Ground Rock or both.
Right.
So maybe a weird tier 4 carry win condition is what we're looking at here. Maybe there's a way for him to do something with the Ninjask or the Hawlucha to proc a weakness policy on that. We see that Dynamax. We've seen crazier stuff out of Jersey City. Let's be completely honest.
We really have. Well, and like you're talking about that tier 4 carry, that's what Chapel Hill did last week with the Doublade. So maybe this carries over and it's used against them.
We've seen Behem do it this season
Yeah,
as well.
Behem's done it as well. Tier 4 can easily be slept on. So right on being something that we can watch as a carry, and not any priority like Mog Punch users. Hawlucha doesn't get that, but right on just very bulky in general, and shutting down Regieleki completely is going to be a big deal here. But honestly, the main thing is like how does Jersey City kind of support itself here? If it's using Baton Pass with Ninjask, or Malamar gets it as well, it may be doing something like that. But Chapel Hill, you can kind of see some clear supportive play with Togekiss, Mr. Mime, the Galarian form. And you also have Fake Out with Mr. Mime, which is something that we see is lacking from this Jersey City side. So you might get some free turns. Oh, yeah. Why did I forget that one? I've used
I couldn't tell you, man. But yeah, Rillaboom getting this Fake Out. There is good priority on the Jersey City side. And one of the things that we talked about is their ability to just go fast and make swaps. If Jersey City can make good reads, which we've seen them getting better about season after season, but especially towards the end of season 6, coming into this season, really getting much better at protecting important pieces, playing towards positioning, and making good swaps. That's a skill that's starting to grow a lot in the league, and I think we're getting closer to me being confident to say that they're able to do that. So that's one way, is if you can get a good swap in per turn, make your opponent waste an attack into something that's not going to take very much damage, get some good damage off in the other slot, start to play around that, maneuver your pieces, and get into winning positions and Dynamax to take over the game from there. That's what we saw them do in Game 1, Week 1, in the reverse of the championship, where that Rillaboom just Dynamax and took over the game. Was, he made a couple good swaps, found himself in a good position, and just made the move to take over right then. So if we can see something like that, if this Rillaboom can get into another good position again, or maybe like this Vaporeon, we were talking about this Rhydon, even the Malamar might be able to do it, right? It looks vaguely unthreatened from the other side. If it gets a couple boosts, just go crazy Dynamax.
Well, it gave me a lot of trouble when I played Jersey City a few weeks back in week 2. Malamar getting, I think, the +4, +5 in both attack and defense, even using Power Swap to kind of keep that in check. But if you're Chapel Hill, we've seen that's the support of Togekiss. If we go this offensive weakness policy with Ishard, Mr. Mime that we've kind of touched on, Jersey City, I don't like necessarily how they're going to have to play around that, because Rillaboom doesn't really want to be in front of a +2 Togekiss. It gets the max Airstreams, it gets the max Flares, and then Dazzling Gleam can keep any kind of variance control in check, which could be something that we know Alex has done in the past. So does that Togekiss show up just to throw a wrinkle? We see the support of Veggie like we've touched on. I think if it gets the screens and Togekiss gets set up, man, this could be something kind of to watch out for. And as we're past this 9 o'clock start time, we're waiting for their stream to go up. Thanks to Ali, Hipster Brown Kid, Shake for letting us use his stream once again. Alex is actually going to be playing the game there. We were talking about it before the cast. Is using the Hawlucha against the Chapel Hill Hawluchas BM, Chris?
You took my talking point.
You get to talk about it, man. You get to talk about it.
Yeah, I think so. Most of all, it calls my graphics into question, because you can see that that's the same Hawlucha over there on the left that was used to make the team logo on the right, which is a placeholder. Gonna get the Hawluchas a proper logo done up sooner than later. But the artist we go to for our logos was taking a sabbatical at the time. So
does a very good job, though. Does a very good job.
Yep. But I'm gonna have to go with BM. I don't necessarily see what its job was here if the Magnezone didn't show up, which it didn't.
Right.
So I'm gonna go with he brought it just because he was playing the Hawluchas, and that's BM.
That sounds about right. I mean, Malamar has superpowers, so it can deal with the well, Magnezone. That's what it was. I wanted to draft that thing. But Rillaboom gets high horsepower, so it deals with it there. So Hawlucha, you're right. He did see it in the semifinals. Very impressed with it there. I know we've had conversation about using that Hawlucha on how I used it. But this is one of those matchups that play us through a few things here, Chris. If Jersey City picks up the win, we have this crazy 3 points apiece for the bottom two if it's 2-1, or if it's especially if it's 2-0. Jersey City, if it's 3 points at tied for first with the three-way tie, that's gonna make the playoff push in Hoenn extremely tight. Sinnoh's been struggling behind, but Hoenn very, very competitive just in general.
Yeah, so looking at it, if Jersey City does pick up this 2-0, a lot of what's going to be important is that differential. How much did they do it by? Were they really close games? Because if each game is finished with a differential of 1, going to make up some ground in terms of points. Not going to do a whole lot to help out that differential. I believe currently sitting at that -5. So an important thing here is not only to try and pick up that 2-0, but to do it impressively and pick it up with a lot of Pokemon left. And I'm going to be honest, I think they could win. They've brought some good pieces. I don't think it's going to be a stomp. So I think more likely what we're looking at is a 2-1 victory going in either direction. If Jersey City picks that up, they move up to 3 points on the table, only getting 2 points for a non-sweep divisional win. And hopefully boosting their differential up a bit there. But if we see a 2-1 win from Chapel Hill, that's just going to rocket them ahead in the standings, right? Those 2 points are a big deal. That will put them at 6.
Or 7 if it's a sweep, my word.
Yeah, 7 points would be so far ahead of everybody in the table. It would force the other people in Hoenn to be picking up sweeps to try and catch up, and it would be a big deal. Now, it must be said, Chapel Hill has a lot of their hardest matches left to play. The Machamps, nothing to scoff at. Neither. Who else have they played? I don't know why this is escaping me.
Well, they had. Oh, dadgummit! So it was Zambia first, right? It was Zambia first, so they start off the season with a bye, and then.
Nashville.
Yeah,
they played Nashville, which is one of their harder matches. So they did knock that out. They still have yet to play either of the 2-time champions. Hi, that's us.
That's us. Yeah.
So those matchups are going to be difficult. Historically, a problem for anybody to beat. But they also have Alex sitting in front of them that they've got to beat today. And
the OG4.
It's kind of a bit of a joke to say it, but there really are no easy matches in the league, but there certainly aren't any easy matches left for Chapel Hill. So they're still going to have to earn them, but getting ahead right here, putting this game away 2-0, jumping up to 7 points, taking control of the table with only a couple weeks left. We got 3 weeks left in the season. Yeah. That's 3 games. That's all you have to make that up in.
Officially, the halfway point is a big deal because I think the maximum 13 points if you're able to play all your games with the 3-0s and stuff like that. If we remember our math on how we set this season up correctly, because Chris and I went back and forth with very different discussions and very different ways on building our point system here for this to kind of keep it balanced. But 7 points if Chapel Hill sweeps, 6 points if they win. Jersey City with 3 if they pick up the win. And then if they sweep, it's 4 points and a massive confusion headache after that. That's basically where we're at, and we can pull the standings up and you can walk it through. But we'll get to watch the game here shortly. I'm hoping, something we did last time while we were kind of waiting for the game to start. Chris, is how do these players go about their game 1 matchups? And it's really hard. It's hard to tell from what we're looking at because there's a lot of questions to be filled. But if I'm Chapel Hill, I'll take my face is on the Chapel Hill side, so I'll look at the Chapel Hill, and if I'm him, honestly, I think I kind of want to be a supportive Togekiss, primarily, just because you got Follow Me. It can keep that the redirection is, I think, going to be something that's going to be pretty valuable here, especially if he wants to use this carry Regieleki, which he's done in a few in the second game he played in the regular season, having the carry Regieleki there, because those grassy glides from Rillaboom, if that's spec'd right, it can get that Regieleki down the sash or down to an easy 2-hit KO range, because we know this thing's wicked fast, but priority, goes over that, obviously. And just keeping the Regieleki at bay, I think that's the big deal that Jersey City has here. So I think Follow Me Togekiss might be something that, if I'm Chapel Hill prepping for this game, that's probably what I am doing to keep the Regieleki protected. Dragalge can take those Grassy Glides if it's from Rillaboom. Obviously, you have to worry about any kind of Psycho Cut from Malamar. And Turtonator, I think in general, if you don't have another game plan, I think Turtonator can actually be what you play around. So those might be the 4 that I'd probably want to lead off with and just kind of see how it goes. It feels weird not using your other tier 3 or your tier 4. I do think if we see Pyukumuku, it's going to be in the second game, either as a usage stat or there might be some wild counter shenanigans. I mean, I believe it does get counter, right? It can do what the Gastrodon does, Chris?
I'm not entirely sure, but it
Quizzing
wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. As resident Pyukumuku expert in the league,
you're the only one who knows.
I didn't want to use the thing, so I didn't. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. But that's one of those things that's going to work one game and then never again.
Right.
And another factor, taking a look over here at the Jersey City side, I'm kind of looking at a similar thing, right? I'm looking at this top 4 that we see over on the Chapel Hill side, saying that's where the problems are. If Mr. Mime shows up, I just got to try and deal with it. If the Pyukumuku's there, I don't even know what it's going to do, so I'm just going to have to see what it does and adapt as I see things. But this top 4, Rhydon looks good. Malamar looks okay, pretty good, especially against the Dragalge. The Vaporeon looks kind of necessary. I need to use the Vaporeon and the Rhydon to get around the Alecki. And Rillaboom looks pretty good. So I'm looking at something like an angle of just opening the Rillaboom, and one of these things that I want to be my threat, for me, it's probably going to be the Malamar, because it has the easiest ways to swap out. Into something like this Rhydon if I've got it tanked up, or this Vaporeon who can usually eat some pretty good hits.
Right.
And just scouting in game 1, right? Use the Rillaboom, use your tankiness, see what your opponent wants to do. Try to find your way into a position with a good Dynamax with enough HP and just start whacking things that way. That's my move. What I think Alex is more likely to do.
You mean you actually know what he's going to do?
No, I have no clue. But what I think he might do is nothing like what I just said, and go for something like this Ninjask to try and maybe baton pass that, hopefully into the Rhydon or the Vaporeon, and just get that speed, just get like a defensive stat up or something along those lines to just get the ball rolling offensively and just get some tempo and Dynamax early. But I do have some fantastic news.
Yeah, I think I know what you're about to say.
The stream is up, so we are starting to get ready to go into game 1. Teams are, I believe, about to start searching. Yep, they're about to start searching. So, final talking points, Caleb.
Yeah.
What do you think we're about to see?
Chaos, man. We talked about it in the weekend review when we're doing predictions. You never know what Alex is doing because he doesn't know what he's doing. He's actually a pretty good Pokemon player. Let's not bash him too hard. But he plays chaotically. He plays unconventional, I guess is probably the better way to say it. And so that's something that John here, as the coach at the Chapel Hill Hawluchas, has to figure out. And how do you play with chaos when there's confusion, or if there's something like, holy crap, that does way more damage than I ever expected it to, because Alex figured out how to make it work. And there's just one of these things that, we're picking Chapel Hill to win 2-1. But I think Alex could maybe pick up 2 games here if he's able to keep John on his toes. Like I said, he has never played him. It's taken us 5-6 seasons to finally get a good read on how to play against Alex.
Sure.
So it's one of those things that Chapel Hill's going to have to play the top end of their draft, I think, here to get ahead game 1, and then adapt and see what Mr. Mime or Pyukumuku can do to kind of alleviate any kind of pressure that anything else he has on his team that's going to apply. You got any last thoughts? I think we're getting close to jumping into the team select. I'm pretty sure I have to go double check.
They are choosing their participating teams now.
Right.
So I guess my final thoughts, kind of an echo. I think for Jersey City to pick this up, we're going to have to see some chaos. But the bright side is Chapel Hill has never played against it before. They've only seen Jersey City play a little bit, if hardly at all, and not really sure what to do. And looking at this team of 6 on the Jersey City side, I think I know what a lot of it's supposed to do because I know Alex and what Alex has seen and had some conversations with him. And spoiler alert, I looked at his team sheet just now.
You got the hidden information over there.
Yes, sir. So I've got, I know that he's got some chaotic stuff to do here, but it's going to be exciting to see, can John handle it? That's much more of what this is I'm looking forward to this being a barometer for the Chapel Hill Hawluchas and saying, can you deal with Alex? Yeah. Can you deal with the chaos? And can you do it cleanly? Is it going to be sloppy? Are you going to fumble a couple bags? Or are you just going to put this away and mean business? So I'm excited to watch the games. I believe it could go either way. I want to see Chapel Hill put it away and put it away hard, or Jersey City do the same thing. I want one of these two players to make a statement here, to make a push towards the end of the season.
Well, this would be the series to make a statement, get a jump in the division race. We're going to see how our in-game overlay looks. It looks like we have everything piping in just fine. Thanks again to Ali, Hipster Brown Kid Shake, who is hosting this event from his house, letting Alex over there be able to stream. So that's an awesome thing we have going on here. It looks like both teams locked in, so we missed some of that team preview. But here we go. Game 1, JCJ, Chapel Hill Hawluchas, Alex versus John. We've never seen it before. What's going to happen? We're waiting for the leads to show up. From the Chapel Hill side, we will be seeing the Mr. Mime and the Pukamuku. If I can pronounce that right all series, I'll be excited. Malamar right on from the other side. So, yeah.
Absolutely none of what we were expecting.
Nothing.
All right. Already off to the chaos races.
That's what we wanted to see.
I'm curious if this is some sort of Hail Aurora Veil setup. Mr. Mime being a bit too fast for that. Pukamuku not being the one that gets the Aurora Veil, it gets Hail. Could be like a protect angle. Maybe this is just a fake out Hail. Not sure, but we do see the fake out come out. So confirmed to move.
Malamar with the superpower into Mr. Mime. That did not do much damage at all. And +1 attack and defense with the contrary ability. There is Pukamuku with the soak into the Rhydon. So it's now a water type. We got some wild strategies coming out here, man.
Yes, you soak the Vaporeon so it can use its Flame Orb. Wild. I believe that indicates to me that we're about to see Freeze Dry coming out of Mr. Mime. And the question is, does Alex see that? And is he going to be able to make a move? Because as we know, this Rhydon's special defenses are not very high. No. And especially if he's not running that Eviolite to boost them, this could just be an instant KO. But it's Hypnosis.
Oh, dry Hypnosis into the Malamar. It does connect. 60% actually does not matter. Malamar taking a nap on this turn. Rhydon using Rock Slide. It's going to whittle down just a little bit of damage on both sides. Pukamuku with the Toxic. It failed. So... interesting. It didn't miss.
You can't Toxic a Pokemon who is already status. That's a bit of a weird play coming out. Perhaps Joy-Con Drift will give him the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. But
or maybe not expecting Hypnosis to hit. It's weird.
Yeah. Not entirely sure, but either way, clicking those buttons, trying to pretty much guarantee that something was going to happen to this Malamar that turn to keep it from going crazy. Maybe just covering his chances, believing that the Rhydon's not threatening or likely to swap out because of that soak, but it stays in, and here comes Regieleki.
Regieleki hits the field. Mr. Mime using Icy Wind. It looks like it's going to connect on both targets. So not very effective on Rhydon, and it boosts the speed from Malamar. So contrary in effect again. Rhydon speed drops. Malamar with the one-turn sleep wakes up, uses super power again into Mr. Mime. Now gets even more boost. So that's +2 in both attack and defense and +1 speed. Another Rock Slide picks up the Mr. Mime. So JCJ on the board and a little bit of chick damage for the Regieleki.
Yeah, a bit slow to get into that position. Perhaps swapping into that Regieleki the previous turn would have been the move. Now this Rhydon did pick up that KO. The Pukamuku comes back in to sit in front of it and threaten. But now Malamar's boosted. It could max here. This Rhydon incredibly likely to switch out while being a water type in front of this Regieleki, not getting stabbed on even any of its moves anymore. But But yeah, it's kind of actually a pretty decent position here from JCJ. A little bit slow coming out of the Chapel Hill side.
Well, Chapel Hill to take back some momentum looking at the Dynamax. If this is the Dynamax Pukamuka, I'll be shocked. It is the Regieleki. Now, we do know Rhydon is soaked as a water type, but the thing is, if it still has Lightning Rod, it doesn't take away the ability, so it would still immune any Regieleki damage here and might waste a max Lightning turn, and that's exactly what happens. Rhydon's Lightning Rod getting the positive special attack. That is massive, Chris.
Yeah, big misplay to not check that first coming out of Chapel Hill, and Malamar's going crazy. That's +3 in both attack and defense, and can Rhydon pick up a second? It can.
It does. That plus special attack boost on Lightning Rod activating, getting that Scorching Stance damage to get over the hump there, recover for Pukamuku, barely tops itself off, but Malamar in a massively boosted situation. Rhydon immune to electric moves with Lightning Rod. That is going to be some adjusting to happen or to be made for the Chapel Hill side as we see Togekiss hit the field.
Yeah, normally you're excited to see Togekiss hit the field here. You could redirect it, but it's not next to a threat. You don't really need to be protecting this Pukamuku unless you just really got to get this Toxic off, which I think you do at this point, but losing the Dynamax like that, pretty bad. We see Baton Pass from the Malamar.
Something's coming in, and it is boosted to
Rillaboom.
All heck.
It's got to be Rillaboom. It's got to be Rillaboom.
If it's Rillaboom, it's
Show
game.
it to me.
No, it looks like you select Hawlucha. So Hawlucha coming in with, is it +3 attack and defense, and +1 with Mold Breaker in effect. Togekiss with Dazzling Gleam. That might be enough to pick up Hawlucha. No, Hawlucha down at 36 HP. Rhydon with Rock Slide. Pukamuku avoids the attack. Togekiss going to take some more chip damage. This Rhydon has been putting in work.
Massive mileage, but the Toxic coming out from the Pukamuku into this Hawlucha is basically going to seal that up as a bit of a weird swap.
Yeah,
really would have liked to see the Rillaboom come in to eat that, but Hawlucha's here. It's big boosted. Can it do some serious damage with this Rock Slide, which I think was the logic behind doing this, is just double Rock Slide. Can we get it?
Hawlucha with the Rock Slide locked in. It is +3. Togekiss taking a massive amount of damage, but still on the field, but it does flinch. That's huge. Rhydon following it up, and Togekiss missed, and Pukamuku going to take a little bit more chip damage all on the field, bulking everything up. Toxic into the Rhydon, so both Pokemon badly poisoned. This might become recover shenanigans from the Chapel Hill side if they don't, if JCJ doesn't try to put this away quickly.
Yeah, the bright side for JCJ is you do still have that Rillaboom in the back that can pretty quickly put away this Pukamuku. And this Togekiss is looking hurt, and you have one more turn with this Hawlucha. You just need this Rock Slide to connect and deal with the Togekiss, and you've got this in the bag. The Rock Slide comes out, and it does find both targets. That's going to be Togekiss going down, Hawlucha picking it up, and now it's just Pukamuku against the world, which you've got to like the world's chances in.
You do, and more chip damage. Now it recovers. Get that HP back. Going to be very stubborn to get off the field. That's going to get it above half HP, a little closer to 3/4. Hawlucha going down to the Pukamuku, picking up its first KO of the series with the Toxic damage. Hawlucha's down, but Rhydon taking some poison damage, as that's going to ramp up as this battle goes on. But we know what's coming in. Oh, well, we don't know what's coming in. There's Rillaboom and Malamar still left in the back for JCJ, but Rillaboom does hit the field, so grassy terrain to offset some of that Toxic chip damage here, I think. So I think if you can just max and go, Chris, is that the easy game plan out of here?
Yeah, hopefully he remembers he still has it. But just looking like it's going to be Grassy Glides for some reason. Maybe Dynamax the Rhydon to save it. Nope, I think he forgot he has Dynamax left, if I'm being completely honest with you, Chief. But this Grassy Glide going to come in, do plenty of damage, and just end it anyway.
Yep, Grassy Glide, all he needed. He said, we're not going to bother with the very long animation, so we didn't have to do any fill time there. JCJ, game 1 win. Take the lead in the series, 1-0. Chris, we're back on camera again. 1-0 JCJ. Holy smokes, that was a very unexpected kind of game 1 right there. But, we said we don't know what's happening.
Well, and I think the important thing was it looked like both teams tried to bring the chaos, and you cannot do that against Alex.
No, he controls chaos. That is
cheeky strategy with the soak coming out. Really expected to see the freeze dry. We didn't. And just nothing happening to that Malamar. The weird hypnosis, toxic turn. Maybe intentional, maybe not. But in any case, that Rhydon just sat there.
Rhydon put in some work. It was a 2 KOs that game, taking a big max turn away from Regieleki, something that now Chapel has to be alert from the entire series the rest of the way go, because it's either Hyper Beam or Giga Impact as the other coverage moves for Regieleki. So that's going to be a big deal to watch for going forward. How do you play around that Lightning Rod? And now is it Dragalge, Turtonator going to hit the field now that Mr. Mime and Pyukumuku have hit their usage stats for the series? That's kind of what I'm, thinking.
That's what I'm hoping for to make it a more interesting series, because I don't think that set is going to work here. I honestly don't, unless that is offensive Togekiss. But given how much damage it took, I think you just got to bring the dragons and say, hey, can you do enough damage to these? Yeah. And if the answer is yes, that's going to be problematic.
It will be. And we do see the cards go up for Game 2. They're locking in very quickly in Team Preview. So we didn't get to see much of that, so I apologize on not having that up. But the leads from Chapel Hill this time, Mr. Mime and Togekiss. So Mr. Mime supposedly still the answer. And Ninjask Malamar from JCJ. So some adjustments. It's 2 of the same Pokemon from the leads earlier in this game.
Yeah, not entirely sure what we're looking at here, but taking a look at some of these moves from the Ninjask, it is incredibly apparent what it's trying to do.
Set somebody else up.
Yeah, this time the Malamar a little bit more under threat. This Togekiss could do some damage, but Fake Out coming out from the Mr. Mime into the Malamar, and Harden coming from the Ninjask.
So +2 defense there. Togekiss with Dazzling Gleam, so the Iron Defense doesn't help out too much, but takes both Pokemon to a little bit above half. Malamar with the flinch from Fake Out. Ninjask Speed Boost ramping up to be a very fast Pokemon moving forward. So +1 speed, +2 defense for Ninjask against a special attacking Togekiss. Makes you wonder, Harden doesn't really help you out there, but it could help you out if it's Physical Lecky. We don't really know because we only saw 1 turn with it. So somebody's going to get some stats if he baton passes here, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, somebody's going to get some stats, but they're also going to eat a good chunk of damage. That Dazzling Gleam doing a fair bit, and this Malamar looking out of position. Kind of strange to see no adjustment happening, but we see the Harden come out from the Ninjask again, going to get even tankier.
Mr. Mime with the Icy Wind to cut down the speed boost on this Ninjask. Actually, it's enough to pick up the Ninjask altogether, so the boosts don't matter as it was a crit. And Malamar with Contrary getting the speed boost, but I think taking down the Ninjask without letting it do its shenanigans with Baton Pass is even bigger as Superpower comes in against this Mr. Mime.
Yeah, and now this Dazzling Gleam is going to be single target, almost guaranteedly going to pick up this Malamar here, but it's Yawn instead.
Trying
maybe
to put
predicting
it to sleep.
A swap there.
Yeah.
Knowing that Baton Pass is there, maybe reading into a swap, and possibly like a Protect on the Ninjask to just get the speed up again. But here comes the big boy. Rhydon is back and looking to do some damage. What is Malamar going to do?
Malamar using Baton Pass to give the +1 attack and defense and speed to its teammate, and it's looking like it's going to be the Rillaboom here swapping in because there's really no other option. But Rillaboom does hit the field, so we see Grassy Terrain activated against Togekiss with Air Slash, though, even though we know it has Assault Vest after seeing that. Now, where do we look like on the damage side as Hypnosis misses?
Yep, the Dry Hypnosis miss. Here comes that Dazzling Gleam, and that's not going to do very much. Actually, surprisingly tanky on this Rhydon. The Rock Slide comes out, doing respectable damage yet again, and honestly, pretty decent turn from both sides there. You got a little bit of chip, you got a little position. Shame the Hypnosis didn't hit, but now it's time to see what can Rillaboom do with these stats. Is it going to go for this Fake Out? Is it going to just max and try and go crazy? Because it's not in a great position, but it looks like Dynamax is going to be the answer.
Yeah, Dynamax Rillaboom like it was early in the season for Alex here. So we get to see the Dynamax here. We saw the U-turn. We also saw Grassy Glide, and we saw high horsepower as well as Fake Out on this move set. So able to drop the special attack stat with Max Flutterby, which will be something that I believe he locked in for this turn. So that will help deal with the Togekiss, especially if it goes for a max. But after taking all its chip damage, I doubt it does.
Yeah, now you're just really worried about, is it Turtonator in the back? Because if it is, especially if it's policy, you're not getting quite too far with this, but that Flutterby comes out, does pick up this Mr. Mime Rillaboom on the board for the second time in the series, and that special attack drop on the Togekiss. Goes for the yawn.
Goes for the yawn.
On the Dynamax target.
That's going to be critical. Yawn on this Togekiss has been a favorite move through the series that has been used. So Togekiss still on the field after that Rock Slide Connect. Rhydon still putting respectable chip damage out as we go. But what is the answer from Chapel Hill? If it is that Turtonator, that's going to put them in a very good spot. But it is Dragalge, which I think is just as good, if not better. You're just weak to the high horsepower.
Yeah, I think that's the real upside to the Turtonator is you take the damage coming out here a little bit better, and you aren't incentivized. Well, I guess you're still incentivizing the Max Quake to get that special defense boost. But overall, you got to really like this position, especially if he goes for this Max Quake, and you do have the Follow Me. Togekiss can immune that damage, and that's just a one-turn Dynamax effectively from the JCJ. But here it comes, the big boy. Who's it going to be? It's the Dragalge.
Yeah, it's the Dragalge, which makes me think that Follow Me Togekiss is imminent. And that would be massive in getting the momentum back in Chapel Hill's favor. So we do see the Max Quake, so there is no Follow Me used this turn. So maybe it's policy on the Dragalge. That is a lot of damage. That's actually a one-shot. Dragalge going down. The boosted Rillaboom was enough. Holy cow, Alex has the control once again, even though it's going to go to sleep.
Yeah, a bit disappointing to not see the Follow Me there to force him to go for something else that turn or waste it before taking a nap. But Jersey City just pushing the buttons and saying, prove it. You're going to have to make me. Yeah. And here we go. Rhydon looks like it's going to pick up another one.
Picks up another one. It does. Dazzling Gleam being a little bit of chip damage there, but honestly, if you needed that Follow Me, just period. If Follow Me gives you a chance to come back in this game, because if this is a Regieleki that's going to come out from the back, you don't have a way to deal with Rhydon, unfortunately, unless you're carrying the Hyper Beam, which is actually it's Turtonator. So can Turtonator pick it up? It just has to focus on the Rhydon early on, but both these Pokemon having ground coverage against Turtonator, very, very important. Be their best way to deal damage here as it resists most everything else that they have. Actually, Rock Slide's super effective. I don't know why I said just ground, but
yeah, it's going to come down to who's faster here, but also another play there was just protect the Dragalge. You know the Rillaboom's about to take a nap, take a defensive turn, protect it. If you've got something to protect it with, it could have been Assault Vest, which may be why it got taken down so easily. But here we go. The turn happens. Rillaboom going to stay asleep. Turtonator goes Iron Defense, though.
That's huge. Iron Defense, boosting that defense by +2. Rhydon with Scorching Sands. Shuka Berry is activated, so unless this burns, not a lot of damage to be had here. Very, very, very little damage. Does it burn? No, it does not. Grassy terrain.
Can't burn a fire type.
Oh, duh, that's true. Man, I am forgetting the mechanics of Pokemon, man. I hope I remember them by the next time I play. Goodness gracious.
Which is Saturday night for people interested in watching. But yeah, we do see that the G-Max is over for this Rillaboom. Still a sleepy boy. But when this Rillaboom wakes up is probably going to matter a lot here. Because if this Turtonator can get another Iron Defense off, it's looking pretty good against the rest of this team. That Malamar didn't have a way to get its special defenses up and is susceptible to being burned. And this Rhydon, while it's got decent damage, its best damage is physical from that Rock Slide. So Rillaboom staying asleep for another turn.
Turtonator using the Scorching Sands in the Rhydon doesn't do a lot of damage, but it does pick up the burn. That's huge in cutting down the damage that it's going to face here. Scorching Sands back in return to Turtonator does a little bit more damage here, but Turtonator needs to get the damage ramped up quickly to pull off the one versus the world. But the burn definitely helps.
Yeah, I think if you've got the heat wave or the flamethrower, you've got to try and deal with this Rillaboom before it wakes up. Having that boost, even against yours, means you're super susceptible to just losing the series instantly to a crit. The grassy terrain is now gone, so healing on both sides is no more. So it's just going to come down to, can this Turtonator do enough damage? But Rillaboom wakes up. Here comes the high horsepower.
That's a lot of damage, though. Body press with +2 defense into Rhydon. Will it be enough? Rhydon extremely bulky. Holy smokes. Using another Scorching Sands. Will it be enough to cinch the series? It is. JCJ picking up the series 2-0. The chaos in Hoenn has begun. Oh, my word.
Yeah, super exciting to see. Super well played from Alex, coming out with a solid game plan and just executing flawlessly, saying, hey, look, you don't have the ways to deal with this that you really need. The Dynamax not being sure about whether or not that Quake was going to be there and going down, a huge factor in Game 2. The Lightning Rod proc in Game 1 being a huge factor. So maybe a little bit of nerves, maybe just not being super fully aware of the opponent's options. But hats off to Alex for executing, and big ups to this Rhydon for putting in so much legwork in the series.
Rhydon was absolutely impressive. As we look at the team sheets here, you see the final score 2-0 in favor of Jersey City. That gives them 3 points, puts them at 4 points on the table, tied with Chapel Hill, tied with Toronto. So it'll be all down to the differential breaking them up in who's in the top 3 in that division. But my word, Rhydon was just absolutely impressive, shutting down that Regieleki. The Scorching Sands damage, though, actually, I think being the big difference there, being a mixed set, usually we don't see that. But Scorching Sands bypassing any of the Iron Defense boost on the Turtonator, I think was definitely why that was locked up for Jersey City, as well as getting a very, very important baton pass into that Rillaboom.
Yeah, and being able to ignore that burn reduction as well, also a huge factor. But yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, that's 2 in a row for JCJ, heating up at exactly the right time here in the middle of the season, getting ready to cook towards playoffs, looking like a real threat. Not excited to play them in Week 7 at the moment, but yeah, well played. I think one of the really good upsides for Chapel Hill through this is that the things that lost out the series are super easy to fix, and come playoffs, if this matchup happens again, you're not going to have to worry about that share the love clause or the all-in clause mattering. You're just going to get to pick whichever 6 you think you need. No more Pukamuku unless you think that's the move. No more Mr. Mime unless you think you need it. So positive notes there. A lot of the issues were pretty easy to fix, and a team tweak here or there could easily cinch this up going forward. But again, hats off to JCJ for showing up and taking care of business. This is what I asked for in the pregame discussions. Was I wanted one of these teams to show up, just take the reins and make a statement, and that is absolutely what Jersey City did. They said, look, this Hoenn division looks good, but it's a 4-horse race, not a 3.
Right.
And now go ahead.
Oh, no, you finished up your thought. I just agree with you there that this is a massive win for JCJ, coming up, heating up at the right time, as you're saying. We didn't get this, but I think we've only got one Chapel Hill prediction right all season, right? So we all 3 of us, Ali, myself, and you, all included in that, picked Chapel Hill to win this thing. Alex said, forget that. You are doubting me too much. I want to come out and show you what's up. Take the 2-game series. So honestly, man, Alex played phenomenal. Nothing against John. John, I think, learned a few mechanics here. He's going to improve. We know he's a good player. We know Alex is a good player, and he knows how to, get you in weird mental states. I think maybe bringing the Hawlucha was enough to mess with the mental state, as we talked about before the game.
Maybe it was. It may have been BM, but well executed there. And one of the big things that I'm most excited for from this is now Memphis is in control of their destiny. If they can go take care of business against Nashville and force that losing streak to continue, which is no easy task, especially looking at those rosters. But he can take not only sole possession of Hoenn, he could top the table with he can get himself up into the mix, right? Because it's worth 1 point. It's
Right.
non-divisional. We could have at the end of this week a
Oh, my
four-way
word,
tie
yeah.
for not only first place,
I gotta
but
pull
for
that.
Hohen.
I gotta pull that up for the standings. Y'all don't see my cursor here, but Memphis with 2 points, so they would be at 3 points
so
total.
they would be at 3
but
points. Not bad, but still right there.
That would put them in first in Sinnoh.
True.
Which is
just like every other Hohen team.
Yeah, every other Hohen team. Hohen has won the Sinnoh division at this point. We've already talked about that. But my word, that was... I mean, we knew that these division games mattered. Like, non-division is non-division. You figure out your team. You figure out what works. You look at your division matchups. You see, hey, I need these Pokemon. I need these roster changes to make it happen. And... win the division games, and you put yourself in a great postseason situation to, get the playoff matchups you want, maybe avoid somebody on the way. Alex has proven that don't count anybody out. My apologies for betting against him. I'm glad he proved me wrong. I will definitely hear a bit grief on that part, and I'll own up to it, So hats off to Alex. Great win.
What? Just tip of the hat. Well played, well executed. A questionable strategy looking at it on paper, but it showed up and it did flawlessly. A bit sad to not see the Vaporeon show up, but absolutely the right call. Everything else took perfect care of business, and well played. We can't say it. Well played to Alex.
No words.
This division only gets harder, apparently.
I'm glad I'm on the Sinnoh side. We struggle together over there. You get to deal with the hard division. Good luck. Have fun with that. We'll hang out with the three of us, all knowing we're going to make the playoffs without any heartache, and then deal with y'all in the playoffs. You can shake your head, be upset at that all you want, but my word.
The season I'm going all in for the title. Naturally, everybody on my side of the table's just gotta step it up insanely. But that's what you want to see in the league, is you want the competition level to keep going up and up and up. And my word is Hohen competitive. When your undefeated team is tied for first place.
Yeah, that's whew. Yeah, we had this weird, when we were talking about playoffs, we're like, there's no instance where one division is just going to completely outplay the other, where, we'll just take the top three from each side, and that's going to be a perfectly good balance. Well, Hohen over here just proven my outlandish theory that I was advocating for early on. And Yep. Well, it happened. First season we broke down and did the point system, but hey, it's going to make for a wild playoff run where we've reached the halfway point for both of these teams, tied at 4 points apiece. Close race up ahead. Before we go to our final screen here, Chris, anything else you want to talk about on this game?
Not on this game. Just looking forward to the rest of the weekend and whatever the hell's coming next.
We don't know, man. We don't know, and we wish we did. We tried the predictions things. Clearly, I'm not any good at them. I barely get any of them right. But starting on Saturday, we have games. The West Texas Wingles play the Charlotte Charizards in their first divisional matchup, so that will be very impactful. We might see some massive swings. Charlotte trying to get back in the race. I think they can. It's going to be a tough matchup. I would love to win it, but Charlotte's a good team. Actually, all of our teams are good teams. What am I saying? And then Sunday, we have the Nashville Ninetales and the Memphis Machamps bringing that one back. There's only been one game played there, and my word, did Memphis show out in it. So a lot of excitement moving forward here, Chris.
Yep, and the most exciting part is you're going to be able to watch all of the games, with Saturday's game being broadcast on the channel with the player perspective and us coming back to give you that game cast on the Sunday match between Memphis and Nashville. Should be a good one, a fantastic week of games. I'm excited for everybody to finally get to see all the teams not named Toronto.
Yeah, we having all the games. This is one of the few weeks we'll actually be able to do this. So very excited that we get to have all the games published. You can go check us out on our YouTube channel or the W&W Pokemon Draft League, where you'll see Chris breaking down how he builds his awesome teams. You'll get to see the players' perspectives on what it's like when we're in the group call, when the massive one-shots happen to Dynamax Pokemon. It is an awesome experience and something that we want to share with y'all. And we thank y'all for watching with us. Chris, you got any final words before we cut this stream off?
Week in review posted today. Go check it out.
Yeah. Well, thank y'all for watching, and come back and join us for Saturday's game, West Texas versus Charlotte, and Sunday when Nashville plays Memphis. Thank y'all for watching. Y'all have a great night.
See you in the next one.